Evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View tonight. Yes, it is 9 o'clock on Wednesday. It's 9 o'clock on Wednesday, and our options for Celtic transfer players coming into the club are dropping like flies. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to let you listen to a Brendan Rodgers interview from the summer. I think it's important to listen back to this interview because during the pre-season in America, Brendan Rodgers put everything on the door of two men in Celtic. Brendan Rodgers put minutes. I'm going to let you listen to everything on the doorstep. I think it's important to listen back to this interview of Nicholson and Co. Let's just jump into it right now. There's 79 people on. Wait a couple of minutes and we'll get people on. We'll jump into the comments beforehand. Brown Warrior, cheeky wee thumbs up to get things going. Chris is in the house. CS. Anger is an enemy. Don't calm down. Chilpel's in the house and he's getting less and less confident. Lanky is still confident. There are a few teams from Japan and England looking at Iwata. Since we can't get Bogus, I could see us going for Luke McGowan. That'll get the fans really excited, won't it? Bringing in a £1 million player from Dundee. That's making us stronger for the Champions League. Never mind. See, I said the board don't intend to spend the O'Reilly cash. They're not going to spend the O'Reilly cash. They're not even going to touch that. That's going straight into the bank. Got rid of a lot of deadwood and secured some decent signings in Casper, Sinisola, and Bernard, Ida, and hopefully get Trusty. And a bonus loan deal with Valley and another midfielder would be a nice success. We're not going to get Trusty, I don't think. I don't think that deal will happen. Don't think it will happen at all. The fact that the Polish guy in America, that deal has fallen through. That isn't going to happen. We're going to go in for the Belgian guy that's playing in Germany and going to pay around about 10 million for him. We're weaker than last season. Look at the squad on the screen. We're weaker than last season going into the Champions League. We had to bring in two keepers because we lost two keepers. So don't bum it up that it's been an amazing transfer window. We lost two keepers, so we had to bring in. Sorry if I've missed out your comments. I'm just going to jump right through to the beginning, to the newest comments, and I'm going to let you listen to this and just make sure that you can all hear it. This was Brendan Rodgers during the summer tour of America.
I had a long meeting with Michael and Chris today, so we know the targets that we want to bring in. There's still a long way to go in the window. I think my concentration is we know what we want to do. With Mike, I had a long meeting with Michael and Chris today, so we know the targets that we want to bring in. There's still a long way to go in the window. I think my concentration is we know what we want to do. We know the priority positions that we want to improve. Whilst the club are getting on with that, myself and the coaches were really focused on the improvement of this team, both physically, tactically, and technically. So yeah, at some point before the end of August, I would expect us to have the players that we want in.
Some point by the end of August, I would like us to have the players I want in.
Whilst the club are getting on with that, myself and the coaches were really focused on the improvement of this team, both physically, tactically, and technically.
Physically, tactically, and technically. Brendan Rodgers expected the players that he wanted in the door. Brendan's words, not mine. So that was Brendan when we were back in America. That was his exact words. No one else was saying that. That was Brendan. He had a conversation with them when he was in America, when they came out to America. We're less than 2 days to the end of the transfer window, and I feel that Brendan Rodgers has been let down massively by the club. Massively. We've 5, we only one in. We need 5, we've only one in. Yeah, says David Stalker. Chilpel, if we don't get players in, the Champions League tickets will not sell. They will not. I don't think they will. I don't think that people are going to be prepared to pay £200 to go and watch Champions League games and watch Celtic not play very well. They'll play well. Brendan Rodgers will put a team that will have a fighting chance. But You'd be as well putting out them going, "Come on, you black and tans, come on and fight me like a man. Telling you I found you won medals down in Flanders." Um, I'm going to play that again in a couple of minutes for people that missed it at the beginning. And I think it is important to remember me having a say, on the inadequacy of the Celtic board is it's not me just making shit up. I mean, this is Brendan's exact words.
I had a long meeting with Michael and Chris today, so we know the targets that we want to bring in. There's still a long way to go in the window. I think my concentration is we know what we want to do. We know the priority positions that we want to improve. Whilst the club are getting on with that, myself and the coaches were really focused on the improvement of this team, both physically, tactically, and technically. So yeah, at some point before the end of August, I would expect us to have the players that we want in. There's nothing new to add. Clearly, a lot of work going on behind the scenes, but until there's any confirmation on it, we will let you know. But I make it clear to the Celtic supporters, we want to improve, we want to get better. We don't just want to stand still this season. We know we want to improve the squad, and by the end of the window shutting, I would expect us to be that. But until that moment, there's a lot of great work going on here with the players. Some of the younger players are developing really, really well. The other players now are really attuned in to how we're working, and they're having a really, really good pre-season, and that's always a real good start point for the season ahead.
A good start point for the season ahead. A good start point for the season ahead would be to get some players in that would be of a quality that when you want to go into the Champions League, and not just get your arse kicked, and Brendan wants to try and move us forward, but it seems that the people upstairs do not want that, or they cannot act quick enough. And I think that I've got a horrible, horrible feeling for people saying that Peter Lawwell has nothing to do with the club and nothing to do with the daily running of the club. Well, for him swanning into a game, for somebody that's a non-executive director, he still attends every single game home and away, and he still acts as if he is the man in charge and he has the final say on everything. Which doesn't make it good. Anyway, the breaking news tonight, which is a completely bizarre one, is Celtic tell Reo Hatate he's not for sale after dismissing a £10 million bid from France for the midfielder. Stephen McGowan broke the news earlier this evening. Celtic have told Reo Hatate that he's not for sale after the offer come in from France. Matt O'Reilly left for Brighton for 25 million. Listen, this is what's even worse about this scenario. As is what we've all known. We all know that Reo Hatate wants away from the club at some point. He wants to go and play somewhere else. Reo Hatate, if he now spits the dummy out and just, this could not have happened at a worse time with this game this weekend. Because if Rio's not in the mood for it, he'll last about 50 minutes. And if he turns around and goes, I was promised a way out here. I was promised a move. That's why I signed the new contract. If a bid came in for me, and that's the way that Celtic work. Hail, hail, Scotty boy for Cowdenbeath. How's that mad bus for Cowdenbeath? You know the one. Reo Hatate is one player that can down tools and just not be interested. And if he does that, I mean, there's already said that some players have down tools anyway because they're not getting games. But I think, but Rio doesn't speak French. He hardly spoke. What's that to do with it? Rio doesn't speak French. That's the most ridiculous comment ever, Les. That is the most ridiculous comment ever. He doesn't speak French. Did you not see how many translators, how many Japanese and South Korean translators Celtic had in when we brought all these players into the club? A bizarre comment. Lobel's influence sacked the board. I think Rio is enjoying his football at Celtic at the moment. But it was only during the summer that he said back in his homeland that he would like to try and play in another league, a European league. Um, he wanted to play in England, France, or Germany. And I'm worried that that deal that's coming in, that's came in, and Celtic have turned it down. There was also um, Leicester City was kicking about, but they were kind of put off by the club. He is under contract until 2028. 26-year-old Celtic don't want him to leave. It's as simple as that. They've turned around and told him they're not for sale. But what if somebody else comes in with 15 to 20 million for Reo Hatate? You can just see Celtic all day long. They're just going to go, bugger it, let's just sell him. Anyway, Arne Engels. Arne Engels looks like looks like that one might go ahead. Celtic are still in talks with the club in Germany. They're going to spend a good bit of money getting this guy in. But let's face it, Brendan Rodgers wanted a certain amount of players in. He told us he wanted 2 midfield players in. He told us before, Brendan Rodgers told us before Matt O'Reilly left that he wanted in 2 midfield players. Before Matt O'Reilly left. That was what he wanted in. And we're not going to get one of the ones that he wanted from America, which is disappointing for the manager. I think the manager will put a brave face in it on Friday. Not Friday, it'll be Saturday once the transfer window shuts at 11 o'clock. And we won't get to speak to the manager. We won't get any word from the manager until just before the game. Just before the game. And we've got a really important game this weekend at home. We've got a little matter of a derby, but there's important things to happen before then. There's a lot of things to happen before we even consider talking about that Mankey mob. I mean, I'm not even going to start talking about them until Saturday, and at the earliest. There's no need to talk about them until Saturday because we've got a Champions League draw to deal with tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Celtic Park time, and we will be live for that. So make sure that you join us for that. And then we've got the all-day session on Friday. We've got the all-day session on Friday where we'll be live around about 3 times throughout the day, first thing in the morning, and to see if Celtic will get any late deals, because it's looking like that we're going to get late deals in. The fact that Mateusz is not going to be coming to Celtic is and then there's a bizarre one. We all thought that Mikey Johnston was sold. But a fee with Wolverhampton Wanderers. No, it's not. It's West Brom. West Brom Albion, sorry. West Brom Albion, the team that he was at last season. A fee of 3 million has been allegedly agreed with West Brom to take Mikey Johnson to them for 3 million. So they've upped what they were going to pay for Mikey Johnson. So it's now Burnley. And this is what makes me think that the trusty deal is not going to happen. I think they were going to sell Mikey Johnston to the one and only Wednesday because they were going to get trusty. And I think that it's just bizarre. It is like Trotter's Independent Traders that is dealing with the Celtic transfer window just now. We've got a new member. Who was that? Phil McDonald is a brand new member of the One Celtic Fans Views CSC. Thank you, Phil. Welcome aboard. Make sure you check out the video on the members side of the channel. There will be another one coming out this weekend, and it'll be an interesting one because I'm going to give you my thoughts into the way that the transfer window has played out, and I'm going to start getting a crystal ball. I am going to start getting a crystal ball and start giving readings and paying for them, because I called this situation out. I called this situation out back in July, back in early July. I called this situation out. Yeah, I'm maybe need to get a crystal ball or tarot cards and just start just charging for it. Fucking shut up. Trotters were never as bad as that as the board. Of course they weren't. the thing is, the Trotters got more money than this board could ever, ever have. They won the Euro Millions, didn't they? Jesus. Lanky says there's only one person that's got a crystal ball, and that's me, apparently. Hey, there you go, Lanky. Leslie Pitty says, and still bad business, Gordon. I don't know what it's all about. Big Dom says the board has sacrificed its negotiation position on dithering at this late stage for the Riley money to arrive. Fools, says Big Dom. Yes, the Cow and Beef Flying Column, Fife's number one CSC, Inverkeithing man. Yep, the Flying Column's a mental bus. That is a mental bus. It's one of yeah, it's a good bus. Flying Column's a good bus. um, right, let me just do a little late check, and then we're going to jump back in. Celtic walk away from. You've got to love the way that the Celtic media, the Celtic media go on about this deal. Celtic walk away from 8 million rated Mateusz deal, says the Celtic Star, and they haven't walked away as they couldn't agree, and he doesn't want to come here. It's as simple as that. And they didn't walk away. They've basically been knocked back. If you're going to, he's going to spend 10 million. If we're going to go and spend 10 million on this player that's coming from America, for Germany, it better be worth it. It better be worth it. I tell you that. I can't even be bothered tonight. Honestly, I think I'd taken that much out myself last night, and I'm just waiting for Celtic to do something really, really good, and I just can't see it happening. I can't even think of something to do for a poll tonight. Wow, Rio 12 million rejected. It was 10 million. So there's another. It's went up to 12 million. Celtic walked away as if we were in control, exactly, as if we were in control in negotiations. Where anyway, right? Let's get some positivity tonight because we are in the Champions League draw tomorrow. CelticFC.com. We did sign Alex Valium. I think we all need some Valium come the end of this transfer window. But there's no news on the ticket situation as yet. I'll just get the team. Team. So the team as it stands going into the Champions League. In goals, there's a new addition to the team that I don't have on there yet. And Mikey Johnson is still at Celtic. He hasn't been sold as yet. So this is us going into the Champions League as it stands, with the hope that we might get one or two players in. Are we? There we go. There's the start poll. $660 current views. Alright, stream settings, analytics. There we go, analytics. That's what I want. Right, there's a new poll. This will be a good one. Are we stronger? Is the team stronger than last season's team going into the Champions League? Remember last season we got in 9 new players. We got in 9 new players last season to help Brendan Rodgers strengthen the squad going into last year's Champions League. We got in 9 new players. This year we got rid of 16 players. We got rid of 16, and everyone is saying 80% saying no, we're not stronger than last season's team going into the Champions League. We'll let that one run. We're at 97. There is 665 people on the live right now, so make sure you do that. And whilst you are all voting, let's listen to Brendan Rodgers just one more time. To listen to Brendan when he spoke to. Let's just listen to this. It's a good start point for the season ahead. I tell you, that man could sell sand to the Arabs. He could sell sand to the. There's no sound bars. Oh, for fuck. Wait a minute, I'll do that again. Should Baz read the comments? Oh man, it's one of those days. Right, that's the sound turned on this time. I need to get two screens. This is just no use at all. I need to go back onto this screen.
I had a long meeting with Michael and Chris today, so
The sound this time.
we know the targets that we want to bring in.
Fuck.
There's still a long way
screens.
to go in the window. I think my concentration is we know what we want to do. We know the priority positions that we want to improve. Whilst the club are getting on with that, myself and the coaches were really focused on the improvement of this team, both physically, tactically, and technically. So yeah, at some point before the end of August, I would expect us to have the players that we want in. There's nothing new to add. Clearly, a lot of work going on behind the scenes, but until there's any confirmation on it, we will let you know. But I make it clear to the Celtic supporters, we want to improve, we want to get better. We don't just want to stand still this season. We know we want to improve the squad, and by the end of the window shutting, I would expect us to be that. But until that moment, there's a lot of great work going on here with the players. Some of the younger players are developing really, really well. The other players now are really attuned in to how we're working, and they're having a really, really good pre-season, and that's always it's a real good start point for the season ahead.
Real good start point for the season ahead. Read between the lines. Yeah, read between the lines. Long way to go. When was this interview? That interview, Stuart, was when we were in America. That interview was when the team was in America. And I called it out then. I called it out that this board were being lackadaisical when it come to the transfer window. And I was told, you're just overreacting, Baz. There's plenty of time to go. There's plenty of time to go. I am going to put that one out. Baz, I think Rangers will park the bus. They can't afford one. Ha ha, there we go. Listen, we're not even going to speak about them, Sheena, until the weekend. There's a lot more important things to talk about when it comes to Celtic. Are we stronger than last season's team going into the Champions League? 21% say yes. I don't know how you can say yes because we've lost Matt O'Reilly and we've not brought anyone in yet. So people that are saying yes, it's just madness. That's madness. It is madness. The only position that we've strengthened in from last season is we don't have O, who wasn't that good in the Champions League, and we've got an Adamida, who's untested in the Champions League. But if that makes us better, 21% think so, 79% said no. There's 250 votes, there's 647 people still on the live, so make sure that you vote. It's 252. Let's get up to over 300 votes. Let's even get to 500. Come on, there's 647 people on. Whilst you're at it, your negativity is madness, mate, says Opinionated Glaswegian. How is it negative? How is it negative? How is it negative? I'm pointing out the obvious. I'm not being negative. I'm just asking questions. If you're on about me, that is. How is it negative? Go and tell me in the comments how it's negative, because I'm only pointing out the events that's happened. That interview was when the team was in pre-season in America, and Brendan Rodgers was asked about incoming players, and that was his response. But I'm meant to be negative. Anyway, you're just an opinionated Glaswegian, and we all have our own opinions. But I can't be that wrong because 80% of people on the channel, 80% of people on the channel say that we are not stronger. 21% love the board. Brendan has been massively let down by the board. Yep. It's realism, Baz. Well said. It is realism. It's realism. It's just telling, it's telling the way that it is. I'm going to, over the next day or so, I'm going to put together a catalogue of interviews from Brendan Rodgers from pre-season since the transfer window opened until the end of the window. And you'll see that Brendan Rodgers is being let down by the club. Yes, they'll vote for Lawwell and his friends, Baz. Baz is telling the truth, says Jai Lynn. Opinion in Glasgow, we're playing better and continually playing players, which is important. We've done all right without Matt O'Reilly against St Mirren. Come on, St Mirren. Players move on. So you're telling me that we're in a better position than last year's team. You believe that we're in a better position going into the Champions League than we were last season. You think that we're stronger. You think that we're stronger. I don't think so. But we're all, listen, it's called the One Celtic Fans View. We've all got our views out there. But I do not think personally that we're stronger. And 81% now think that we are not stronger going into the Champions League. And if that's negativity, well, I don't see it like that. I think it's just the stark reality of what has went on this summer. Anyway, the fact that, well, there's one positive. We've turned down 10 million. I'm looking at a new pair of Adidas, actually. Potential baptism of fire for the new Celtic recruits. For new Celtic recruits. No Celtic player. I mean, the only player that... I think that if Alex gets the shout, and here's another poll that we'll do next, once we get this to 300. 307. 308. Let's try and get it to 309 if it's not, it's slowing down. Come on, there's 677 people on. Do you think they were at the champion? 19% were telling us to calm down last night. Yeah, they were that. It's down to 18%. 82% think that we're not stronger than last season. Chilpel says the main reason we are playing over the odds, we are paying over the odds, is the board's fault. It's backfired on them. The board are happy. It's assured. Nothing but bluster the whole summer, says Paul. Yep, it is that. Not sure we are stronger, says John Paul. Paul says nope. And there's nothing negative at all, Baz. Where's that? Nothing at all, Baz. Playing better against who? Just wait until the Champions League and then open your eyes. Yeah, if we get gubbed, if we get hammered like we did against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, if we get a couple of bad results in the Champions League, right, I'm going to come back to this vote, and I'm going to come back to it, and I'm going to ask the fans, do you think it was a success? And I'm going to keep doing these votes during the summer, because I'll remind you that do you think that it was a successful summer? Do you think that we were improved for the Champions League? And people said yes. 82% still think, 81% is down. It's up and down. 326 votes. Simon Ireland is in the house. Even you, Simon, how are you? Any new signing will not be involved on Sunday. Not at all. I think... Let's close that poll down. I'll do another one. 2 or 3 injuries and we are toast, says that. Exactly. Reo will be player of the year. Not a chance. Not a chance. Reo Hatate will not be player of the year. Not a chance. Irishman in Porto, you're absolutely way off the mark. Way off the mark. Reo Hatate will not be player of the year. I'm not suggesting who will at the moment, but he will not. Thursday's not happening. Trusty's not happening. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Baz, it's right. It's a joke. We're no stronger than last year. Lucky if we get 2 loan deals in for Friday. In fact, one good window in 4 years. Yeah, and that was the one when the last manager came in. Right, we are at 340 votes. I'm going to shut that poll down. And the results are in. I'm going to do another poll right now. Are we stronger than last season's team going into the Champions League? No, said 80%. No, said 80%. 19% seem to think that we are stronger going into the Champions League. That's a strange one, but everyone's got their own opinions. Let's just do this next poll. Ah, there we go. Simple yes or no with this one. We'll do nothing in the Champions League, says Jim. Right. Time to boycott and protest and ask for Loro sacking. Well, that's not going on. But do you think, let's get it positive, do you think that Alex will start before Greg Taylor this weekend? Do you think that the young lad from Barcelona will have done enough? Do you think that he will start realistically? He has absolutely no idea about this game. He has no idea about Scottish football. Ben Doak's away. Ben Doak, he's away somewhere else. Ingles will sign and we'll definitely need another centre back. Yep, I think so. Should Alex start before Greg Taylor this weekend? That is the 12% are saying. I think there's 12% that's Blowell and his family that are sitting watching it. Before Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor knows how to win this game. Greg Taylor knows what's at stake at this game. And Greg Taylor, yeah, Studs just said it. Greg Taylor is battle hardened for this game. I don't think that Greg Taylor is the first team in the sheet. Yep. AJ started at Ibrox. Yeah, but he wasn't replacing anyone of. He was. Come on. He was keeping out Tony Ralston. Do you know what I mean? He was keeping out Tony Ralston, which is no hard job. Celtic board are in a coma the last 5 transfer windows. Tony Macaroni says the lad needs time to settle. He does that. Boy Benioff says stronger starting 11 because we're playing better and not stronger squad. Well, that's the question. That was the question. Is the squad stronger? I mean, the starting 11. That starting boy for Benioff, that starting 11 could be decimate. Look what happened to Matt O'Reilly last night. Right? If that happens to Kyogo, if his shoulder pops the next game and he has to go in for an operation, we're left with Dyson as a striker and Adamida. We've got no third choice striker. If we then get an injury again to Cameron Carter Vickers, his knee goes again. We're short at the back. We're shorter at the back, way short at the back as it stands. We need a defender in to go beside him. We're not stronger. We are not. The squad is not stronger. The starting 11, you may say, is stronger. I don't think it's stronger than last season. I think it's not weaker, but it is weaker because we've not got Matt O'Reilly. Matt O'Reilly had been at the club for a while before last season, and he knew what it meant to play at the club. You've got new guys that are coming in that are going to be like, whoa, you cannot lose a game. Barcelona loses the odd game. Barcelona haven't been great. This guy came in and he was playing second division in Spanish football. It's hardly a level where you've got to win every damn game. Do you know? You can't throw him into that fire pit as a young lad and expect him to excel. Not a chance. Not a chance. Anyway, 88%, 235 votes. The votes are flying in for this one. Should Alex Valium should Alex start before Greg Taylor this weekend? 88% say no, he shouldn't, but he will make the bench. If he makes the bench, who's going to be left off the bench? Two different pairs of goggles, one for the telly and one for the mobile. My eyes are rolling in my head when I read this lot. Don't know why people think we will get into Alex Valley last signing. Why do people think we will get two in? Alex Valley's the last signing. Paddy Burns says, what time's the draw tomorrow? 5 p.m. Celtic part time. Celt for Life says, I think the team is playing a lot better together than last season. That's always going to happen. You're always going to kick on the second season round. You know, they got the better pre-season. I just don't think you can play better, but you're not stronger. You know, so um, boy, just the comments are flying in. I'll just shut that down. Rio will throw his head up in the air. Taylor's good. He's very underrated. He is that. He's a good little player. And listen, um, he's a player that he's got better and better each season. 9 minutes against the Huns. We could have been without Matt. If we lose if we get two injuries, there's no way can you go a whole season without one or two players getting injured. It's impossible. If this squad that is on the screen just now gets one or two players injured, important players, we are then a weaker team. We're then a way weaker team. Agreed, the numbers as were unpredictable. Right, Andrew says Valley ripped Real Madrid into bits 3 weeks ago, so he'll be miles better than Taylor when he gets his chance. Well, here's hoping. The 12% who say we are stronger, their heads are nipping. Zed Head says the worst thing about that could happen is we'll do well in the Champions League, and the board will let the board off the hook. Ida's not the Messiah. Yeah, he's not. He's not. Baz Kevin scored and Van broken down. Oh, for Jesus God, man. You're having a laugh, man. I'll need to phone him after this. Fuck's sake, John. Why does he not just sell some motors? He's got more motors sitting than anything. Do you know what I mean? If he gets that XR2 done up and sell that damn XR2, I mean, that's an original XR2 with 36,000 miles. That'd be worth a fortune. It's sat dry stored in a garage for 20 years. Anyway, let's see about Celtic. That's the wrong one. Click on that. Should Alex start before Greg Taylor? 200. Right, let's get this up to 300 votes and then we'll shut that poll down. 87% said no, he won't start this weekend. He'll be on the bench. If Beaton's 11-win Sunday, all hell will break loose. Yeah, I don't think that they'll win. I think there could be the possibility of a draw. That wouldn't surprise me. But we're at home. And I think that the good thing is that there's no fans. And I think if we can get right down on top of them, the only thing that we're going to have to watch for is the referees. 8-0 Scudden in Europe, incoming disgraceful from the board, says Alistair. Give Big Adam Taylor's solid game last week. He still gets permanent criticism. Don't get it. I'm not giving him criticism. I'm just asking the question. We've just brought a left back in. And the question is, should Alex start before Greg Taylor? I don't think he should. I think the guy needs to prove his selling training and then get brought in like any of the younger players that come in through the system. Ian Thompson's baffling. Yep, he won't start, says Liam. I think Taylor gets treated harshly by... I've said this before, Sean. Any Scottish player that is at Celtic gets it in the neck. They always get it in the neck. They're not good enough. They're this, they're that, the next thing. You know, people said this time last season that Turnbull shouldn't even be at Celtic. He was on the last year of his contract, and it was like he was playing before Reo Hatate, because on forum during the window during the summer, David Turnbull was absolutely brilliant. Reo Hatate's head went down because he didn't get sold again. I'm just hoping that the same thing doesn't happen this next couple of weeks, that Reo Hatate's head goes down and it affects his form. Let's hope not. But some people think that Reo Hatate is going to be player of the season. I don't think so. I think it's going to be interesting who might be player of the season this year. I think it'll be Kyogo. Greg isn't brilliant, but he's consistently decent for us. He is that. I think Greg Taylor covers a lot for Scales. A lot of people will say it's the other way. A lot of people say that Scales actually covers for Taylor, because when Taylor goes battering her way up the pitch, he kind of leaves that left back area a big open space sometimes, which drags Scales away out. So I think it's sometimes... I sometimes think it's a little bit. Hatate is a gem of a player in our crown. Do you think so? Sorry, it came in the loan deal without an option to buy Valley. Yes, it's a loan deal without an option to buy. To buy. Um, we've needed a left back for 18 months, a centre back also. Priority. Well, discussions in America. Yep, the boy Valley has a 2.6 million release clause in his extension. So if he does do well, we might sign him next summer. But there's no option to buy. There's no option to buy in that. So I think he'll want to go back to Barcelona. Baz, what about Sunday? Says Stephen Calmack will pull the strings this season. There's one. There's one. Um, would Callum McGregor ever get Player of the Season? There's a good one. Let's stop this poll and do another one. There's still 683. Let's do another poll before we end. There's 309. It's about the same. End the poll. Do another poll before we go. Oops. There's a good one for you. Do you ever think that Calmack will ever get Player of the Season, Player of the Year? Do you think Calmack could ever get Player of the Year? Do you think that he can do enough in that midfield? Do you think that did Scott Brown ever get it? Because I mean, Scott Brown was that midfield mastermind that knew how to break down teams, and Callum McGregor is following in his footstep, and he's got a big burden on his shoulders. Callum McGregor, do you know he's still only in his early 30s, but he's got a big burden on his shoulder. He knows what it means. He's got to grab this new guy in for Spain, and he's got to sit him down and talk to him. And him and Jamesy will need to talk to him. You don't understand the word Jamesy says, right? He might do. But he's got to sit him down and talk to him and tell him how important every game is. You know how important you cannot lose a game playing for Celtic. You have to win every game. It's that winning mentality. You think you're going to. It's not you have to win it. It's you think you're going to win it. It's not this. You don't. You don't think you. The fans say you have to win every game, but the players they think they have to. They think they're going to win every game. It's a completely different mentality. They're going to know that it's like we do what we do and we will win. Simple as that. That's the confidence level that the manager has instilled into this team and that he's instilled into the many team at Celtic before. Do you think that Calmack will ever get Player of the Year? 68% say yes, there's 145 votes, and 32% says no. Interesting one. Votes are going up nicely, sitting at 148 votes for this one. There's still 634 people watching the video. There's been over 2,642 on the live so far. Kuhn will be running. Kuhn will be in the running this season if he stays fit. I think Kuhn will need to score a lot of goals. He'll need to score a lot of goals to do it. Valley speaks decent English. Of course he does. He's Spanish. The majority of Spanish speak good English. We've got a better education system than the UK. That's a fact. That's a fact. And they get 10 weeks. Do you know that these kids get 10 weeks holiday? 10 weeks holiday, and they get summer clubs for free. Summer school clubs for free. Then they get me started about education in Spanish speaking English. Schmeichel will step up in the big games this season. That's why he's here. Schmeichel's never going to get Player of the Year. Scott Brown got it 2008, 2009, says Brendan Duffy. New poll. Are there enough polls? No, there's not enough polls. We've not got. We need a few polls at the club. There's always got to be a couple of polls at the club. Self Life says Sunday, the 1st of September. It has been 3 years, 10 months, and 15 days, 200 weeks since Sefco won at Paradise. Well, there you go. If Greg Taylor's name was Sean Francis Brendan Taylor, he would be accepted with some of the Celtic fans who slate him. Yes. Yes. You no, you forgot to put a Neil in there. Or was the Francis a wee nod to Neil? Baz is getting a 10 and a vote if it explains 3 polls. Nope. I reckon that Kuhn starts the recent ball cutting inside. It could be magic. Lanky says, how if I get Baz if we're doing those balls because he wants a poll that plays in America? Polls, yes. Polls, no. We always need a good poll at the club. We've always had good polls at the club. Always. Some mad random person says, I love the polls on here, Baz. Makes it great for the talking points and discussion. It does that. Brother Beaton doesn't worry about Sunday, giving 4 penalties. Missed that. Paul McGuire says he's joking. Evening Troops says Thomas. Lanky says, give it time, Baz. It will become. Baz will become a pole dancer. Not a chance. Not a chance. Fuck the Polish. Jackie scored more in Victoria's than Parkhead. Expats, immigrants. Nobody talks about expat Afghans. Exactly. I'm an immigrant. I'm an immigrant in Spain. Immigrants are welcome here. It's the thing. And Spain recognises Palestine. That's something that you didn't know. Spain officially recognises Palestine. But you can't talk about that. Actually, I was looking. I'm not even going to go on about that. That was back in October. Have we signed anyone yet? Nope. We've been out walking the dog, says Pubcat28. I think that we could all go out walking the dog and then chase some cats and some squirrels and chase some deer. And Celtic will probably still not have signed anyone at all, ever. 209 votes. This poll isn't going as fast as the others. He must be a defender or a goalkeeper. Hey, boom, boom. Do you think that Calmac will ever get Player of the Year? With 648 people on the live. Come on, get voting. There's 212 votes, and there's 648 people on the live now. Fuck Spain. What's that? Spain hasn't a problem. It has big problems. Spain, Michael Ross, how does Spain have big problems? Go and tell that. Spain has its problems, big problems. I love it when folk come out with stuff like that, especially when they don't know the politics of Spain. The Catalans. The Catalans are trying to upset the current government. And you've always got to remember as well that there's been a left-wing government in Spain for the past 14 years. So you need to know what you're talking about when it comes to Spanish politics. John says, more chance of walking T-Rex than signings happening. Yeah, John, you've got it. You have got it. I'll give you a list, says Michael. Go on then, Michael. Send me it on Twitter. Give me the list if you think that Spain has its problems. Spain's the second biggest economy in Europe this whole year. Says the second best economy in Europe this year. Don't read the media. Don't read the media. Scotland has its problems. Yeah, it does that. Anyway, we're not fucking talking about politics now. The last time that happened, but as the same law will ask for Jackie McNamara and one looks round about to turn the car around. Jackie, fuck off, Peter. He had months to sort it out. Yep, he did that. Right, we've been on for 48 minutes. We've got the last poll of the evening, 235 votes. Do you think that Calmac will ever get Player of the Year? You had your chance to vote on that one. And the votes are 67% say yes, 32% said no. They don't think that Calmac will ever be Player of the Year for Celtic. Let's just do one little update. Mikey Johnson says goodbyes amid 3 million transfer bidding war. If we sell Mikey Johnson, mind you, he's not been on the bench, has he? Oh, he has. I'm just fed up with Celtic tonight. Anyway, there is 18,412 subscribers to the channel. We are trying to get to 18,500 before 11 o'clock on Friday evening. Make sure that happens. We'll be live again tomorrow evening. Tomorrow is Champions League. The champions, where we all get all excited about the draw for the Champions League. We will be live at 4:45. We'll kick it off early, and it takes a while to get going. It took ages last year, remember, and then I got overly excited at the draw. Overly excited because I thought it was an easy draw that we got last year, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Will we get easy teams? We've got 8 games in the Champions League this year with the new format. It is the one league. We play 4 games at home and 4 games away in Europe. We will be in Europe for the first time after Christmas by default, because the way the Champions League has been set up this season. It'll be interesting to see what teams we'll get. Make sure to join me for that live at 5 o'clock, and we'll sit and watch the Champions League draw together. You can watch it on your telly and listen to us and chat amongst us in the comment section, and then we'll see if we can increase the 18,412 subscribers up to 18,500 before. Can we get there's one? Can we get 18,500 before we make a sign-in? It's looking like it. Being honest, isn't it? It's way looking like it. I'll be amazed if we actually get anybody signed tomorrow. Anyway, let's get to some of the final comments. 12 points will get us through to the last 16. Not a chance. Not a chance. Paul Maguire, not a chance will Celtic get 12 points. Not a chance. Not a chance. It took us to get 4 points last season in 6 games. How do you think? Oh my God, that's chat for tomorrow. Big love to Stephen Johnston. Good night and God bless every single one of you. Lanky says, keep them green and white troops. Players are coming, trust me. Said Lanky. You told us we were getting 5 million for Mikey Johnston, man. I'll speak to you later on, fella. 18,413 subscribers. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic evening, Celtic fans all around.